just a good old boy.
Alrighty, it is the reveal day. What machine did we get? Did we choose a takahuchie? Did we choose a cat? Did we choose a Deere? Or did we choose a Kubota? Well, we were looking for a used machine. Was what we ideally wanted, but it is extremely hard to find a used tire machine. So we ended up having to go with a brand new machine. 2023 model, straight new from the dealership. And we priced them all exactly how we wanted them, with the lifting capacity. That was the number one thing, was how much can it lift a ton normally. I wanted stability. I wanted something that I could easily pick up a pallet of salt feed here on the farm with, that could easily handle that, carry 2 round rolls of hay with a double spear, that would not give me any light issues in the rear end. So what we ended up with is a Kubota. Take a deep breath. I know we got a pumpkin. I always said I wouldn't have a pumpkin, but we got a pumpkin. And my thing has always been, I'm gonna be honest, I've always been honest, we own it. The problem I've always had with Kubota was a weight, and comparably in weight, the next closest machine price wise that we priced was the Deere, and it weighed within 100 pounds. They were within 100 pounds of the same of the Deere. Now the Deere did come with 10-ply tires. This one has 8 plies, and they were a little bit larger tire. Now the Deere was 320, which was a 70 horse machine, but that was what Deere's recommended for me to get with the weight that I wanted to pick up. That machine was drastically different in price than this one, and that was the biggest reason why we went with what we did. The other machines were, at least when we priced them, $10,000 to $15,000. Let's just say just to be safe, $5,000 to $15,000 in difference than this machine was. And that was why we ended up going with the Kubota. It is a SSV 65 tire machine. It has cab, heat, air, radio, comfort seat, every option you can get. That was all they had available, to be honest. It has more options than I would actually have ordered it with if I could have gotten exactly what I wanted to save us some money. But this was the only machine. This machine actually came out of Tennessee and was shipped down here, that was close to what we needed. Now they did have a 75. The dealer that we bought it from did at another dealership of theirs, but we did not want to pay the extra cost, which it was still cheaper than the alternative machines. It was about 5,000 or 6,000 more for a 75 versus a 65, roughly. And they were both loaded machines. They're both loaded out. They have, like I said, they've got radio, air conditioning, their pilot controls. That was a must for me. But I wanted a pilot control machine. Now this one does also have the quick hydraulic coupler on it. The Deere that I priced that was more expensive did not have the quick coupler. It did not have a comfort seat. It was the standard seat. And I'm trying to think what else. It was not a high flow machine. This is also a high flow machine, so we can run a small bush hog or something if we want to, different implements on this, and with no problem with this machine. That was another big deciding factor, because that was something that I've been wanted that we did not have in our other machines. I really like this machine for a lot of reasons. One, the loader pivot is back here, it stays down, and the front is always higher. The Kubota, the arms right in here were all, or not Kubota, the New Holland, were always above the front. So when I was stacking in a low spot, like in a chicken house, which is where we stack most of our hay, I would lose, if I was stacking square bales, an entire layer of hay with the New Holland versus the case. Now I've not tried it yet to know for sure, because I have not had this in the houses yet. I've only been loading it out with it out in the field. I have got over a day run time in this machine. I wanted to do that before I made this video so I could explain everything to y'all about the machine. But it that was one of the key things I was looking at. Another thing is we went with tires, because the tracks, I love tracks. If you're doing a lot of bucket work, manure work, pallet, well, not even really pallet work, but just bucket and manure work, grading, tracks or clearing land, with pushing trees up and clearing openings and things, tracks are priceless. They are worth every cent. Now if you're doing a lot of hay work, and this is one thing that goes on with the Ferguson being down to 4710, is I've went to having to use a loader in the field a lot more. I want to start using a loader in the field more instead of a tractor. It's just easier. There's more, they're easier to pick hay up with, they're easier to load with. Now round rolls, different story, but square bales picking up the packs, I want to be able to use a loader. It's more comfortable running it, easier to load the trailers. I can actually load a lot faster with a loader than I can with the tractor. Now that being said, that was one reason why we wanted to get away from the tracks and go back to tires, was because of that. The tracks were fine as long as I could leave the machine at the chicken house and I wasn't traveling far distances. When you're out here in the field with that running across the field back and forth long distances, and toting hay and crossing terraces and everything else, it is very hard on those undercarriages, and it's very expensive to maintain on a track machine, at least the one we had. Now I will say this, the one we had was a very expensive machine to keep operating. Now I have ran cats, I have ran bobcats, I have ran takahuchies. They are, I've been told, and from what I have seen, they are far cheaper to operate and maintain than the one we had. But they were completely out of our price range. As for a hay producing farm, it was unrealistic. And that's also probably why the New Holland also has probably a $15,000 price difference between the same machine and a different brand at the same year model. But anyway, we'll go past that. So this is a 2-speed, high flow, fully loaded cab AC SSV 65 tire machine. I love everything about this machine so far. The ride of it is to be expected with a tire machine. It is a little bouncy, but it's stable, it's not rocky. It's very quiet outside. The machine itself is just a quiet, non-rattly, well-built machine. Serviceability on these is second to none. Your oil filter's right there, your fuel filter, water separator, and everything's right here. There's another filter, oil filter there. For your hydraulics, your air cleaner's right here. Your belt is right behind this, easy to access. Your battery's right here. You don't have to pick the boom up to get to it and fight that and try to pull panels off to get to it. It's all right there. It's easy to get to. There's a bunch of bottoms to clean out, and that you can blow this thing out with easily. Up here, you take this plate completely out, and then that condenser folds up and you can blow out your radiator. I'm not going to take it all apart right now. Then in here is actually enclosed. We'll go around here and y'all can see it. Enclosed fan. That is a hydraulic fan that has a reverser, so it does reverse. And what I mean by reverser is it sucks air in to cool. It does blow back to clean itself off ever so often, just like our square baler Nodder fan does. And that will help keep the radiator and everything clean. All the shielding is removable, these pieces, this piece, and you can get to everything. There's a door right here that you pull off, a large door. I used it this morning. You undo this and you pull this whole door out, and you can access underneath the radiators too to clean them out that way with a air wand. Extremely maintenance friendly. Fuel tanks in the door. If there is something wrong, it's easy to get to all that stuff to work on it. Now, there is some concerns with this machine. I know what a lot of y'all are thinking already. Oh Lord, there has been a lot of people that have had these that has had engine troubles. From what I can gather, it's mostly in an 18 to 20 model where the engine problems proceeded, and I think it was due to overheating. And I'm hoping that this one will last. I know about 3,500 hours was typically 3,000 hours, the area where these engines would go bad. That is my number one concern with this. I'm hoping that we don't have those issues, but for $10,000 to $15,000 difference, you can buy a lot of parts and service for that kind of money. So that's kind of where we're at. As far as my biggest concern is in the motor. I'm not going to lie about it. I knew that going into the machine. People either have a lot of problems with these right off the bat, or they love them and never have an issue with them. It's one of the two. So I don't know. I'm hoping for the best, but we'll see how things go. But the overall design of the machine and the layout of the machine, and a lot of people like the Takahuchie, has a Kubota engine in it, and they are known to be extremely reliable. So it's kind of like flip of a coin. It's like, well, what are you getting? So I think that they've probably got all that worked out by now. This is a 23 model. They did get a little bit of a rough spot, but I'm hoping that they've got all that worked out and everything's good. But overall, the actual design of the machine itself, I really like. They designed pretty much everything pretty well. It's a heavy built machine, and if it had the larger tires on it that the Deere had, it would actually probably outweigh the Deere, and it was a 5 horse smaller machine. I did not price or look at the specs on the 318 Deere, which would actually been the equivalent of what this machine is. So I don't know for sure how they would have compared there. I never looked, but I'm sure the price wouldn't have been that much difference between an 18 and a 20. This one does have the roll-up door. As you can see, that was a key thing. That's one of the reasons why I wanted a Takahuchie, was because of the door. I had a swing out door. I did not like it because I could not open the door up and say somebody's standing there and I'm picking something up with a chain with a bucket, and I need to be able to talk to them with these. You could not hear them out of the cab of the New Holland. There was no way. We would actually have to take a phone and try to hold it to your ear, or if I had my headset in, I could listen to somebody then outside the machine and what they were telling me to do, because I could not hear them. With this, you can open the door. It's got 2 latches, one on each side that grab at the same time, and then it latches up like that. You can also latch the big pins to keep it from falling for sure, but it does have a latch. There's 2 back here, I know for sure. I think it may latch up in there too when you fold it up as well, but I haven't really dove into it that far. Like I said, this is a pilot control machine, so one joystick works the loader, one joystick drives it. It has heat and air. The air condition on this machine, it will freeze you right now. We'll see what as time goes, and working in those chicken houses, as dusty as it is, how things work. But right now, it will absolutely freeze you. I'm very pleased with that so far, especially working out in the field. It's cold. It's colder than most of the tractors that we have. Like I said, this is a high flow machine. You just flip that, it'll activate it, and then it has obviously the regular auxiliaries. This is a DPF machine, which most skid steers are. It does have to do a burn off. From what I've read, you do not stop. You just turn the throttle basically to wide open until it completes its regen while you're working. You don't stop working, and then it'll regen while you're working. Trying to think over here, it has got a windshield wiper, and this is your controls for the quick lock on the bucket. It also has self-leveling bucket. I love using that with the grapples, because as I pick up the hay, it'll just keep it level, and I can just drive in and set it down. I don't have to sit here and try to feather it as I going up and all that mess. It's just one less thing I have to worry about when operating this thing. Did come with a Bluetooth radio. Really like that so far. I like to listen to podcasts and stuff. I can listen to that, and then, which I've never had that before, and then the heating and air controls are back here. And then it has another recirculation filter right there, it looks like, for the AC. Trying to think. I'm just all over the place, this thing. It does have a throttle pedal down here to for while you're driving, if you want to use it. I don't typically use that because, especially with the tire machine, it does still have a little bit of a rock just because it's a tire machine. So it's hard to keep that unless you're on a flat, smooth surface, like maybe in those chicken houses. It'd work great. You can hit it and speed up if you want to, more than what your normal throttle setting would be when you're running back and forth down the chicken house. This is a 2-speed machine, which was something I kind of want. I had in the track loader with the New Holland. I liked that because it would give me more speed when I'm shooting from one direction to the other, especially in the chicken houses when we're unloading hay on that smooth flat floor. You could zip down to the other end right quick with it. This machine will run up to 11 miles an hour in the second speed. First speed I think goes up to 7 miles an hour. Really liked that the other day when I was loading out in the field. It really sped me up. Dad could not outrun me with the baler. I was staying right with him, grabbing every pack off the back of the Coons accumulator. I never once got behind, unless I obviously stopped. But that's it. We did get it from Nelson's Tractor Company. Troy up there, or T-Roy as they call him. We've known him for years. That's who we dealt with, and they did an excellent job finding this for us and getting it in quickly. Treated us good. Couldn't ask for anything else from them. It was in and out and without any hard issues or troubles. It was pretty quick and easy, to be honest. The machine was in Tennessee, and we had it within a couple days. Later they had it in for us, and we were ready to pick it up. Now I did get the bucket with it. I got a tooth bucket to go with this one because I don't have the tracks, and it's not going to have the extra force by the tires to help it dig. So I went ahead and got a tooth bucket to go with it to help us in that department. But so far I really like it. It has real good halogen lights on it. It has 2 actually halogen lights and 2 standard lights off to the side to kind of illuminate the area, and then on the back it has some marker lights and 2 halogens on the back to light up behind you. Now the rear glass is also escapable in case you was to need to go out that way. It has 2 handles that pops it out. You don't have to break it, so you don't have to worry about paying to replace it if you do need to get out. It just has 2 handles. You pop it loose and you can get out, crawl right out the back in the event that you needed to go out that. And you couldn't get out the front door, even though it does roll up. And there you can see the radio antenna. It lays down there flat like that. The fuel door is right here. You can get to it without having to open the back door if you want to, or you can open, like I said, you can open the door on the back and you can get to it. The fuel tank also acts as kind of like a counterweight if it's full, if you need to pick up something heavy. But that's pretty well it. Your AC filters right here. You pull this off and you can get it out, or your in-cab filter, one of them. But that's what we went with, and so far, like I said, I really like it. It's very quiet outside the machine. Now the one thing that well, there's actually two things that I've noticed right off the hand that I'm not real crazy about versus the Takahuchie and the Cat. I've ran both of those machines, especially Cat, quite a bit. Now they were track machines and not tire, but that shouldn't have anything to do with what I'm about to talk to. And they were both close to the same size this machine is. One is the hydraulics when you're in the cab seem to have a little bit louder hum. It's not a lot, but it's noticeably a little bit louder than those two machines that I have ran. And a Bobcat. I will throw a Bobcat in too. I have ran a new 21 track loader Bobcat, the same size this machine is, or close to it. I think they were all within 75 to 60 something horse, around there, the ones I've ran. And that machine, or those machines, were a little bit quieter on the hum of the hydraulics, especially when you're turning and stuff, than this machine was. That's the one thing I have noticed difference between those and this one for sure. The other thing was the door. I did like the Takahuchie's design on the door latch system a little bit better than this one. I don't have an issue with it. It just feels like they could have done a little bit better job on the design of it a little bit than that. I mean, this all feels kind of a little bit light and cheap. But I do like that they have I think it's a 4 latch system on these. Is there one at the, yeah, there's one at the bottom down here. I'm pretty sure that latches it, isn't there? Or no, it's only 2. I was thinking there was 4. Now it does, like I said, it does latch up here. Oh, you also have a light back here with the keys off, so it's not going to come on. But you do have a light back there to illuminate the cab, and a mirror. Almost forgot the mirror. I was shocked with this because I haven't seen this in other machines. They normally have a little bitty tiny backup screen, especially on the Cats, that you can't really hardly see anything out of anyway. But this one has a big wide rear view mirror, and I can see everything behind me when I'm sitting in here running it, to visually be able to see behind me. But like I said, these latches, I feel like they could have done a little bit better job. Maybe made them more like an excavator latch where you have a button on each handle to push instead of these. But I mean, is it dead in the world? No. And all this stuff, if something did break, should be fairly, I would hope, just looking at it, should be fairly cost effective as far as pricing to fix it. Now it does have a phone charger too right here. Then it has another little tray that you can put your phone in. It had a piece in here to help support your phone, but I took it out, and that way I can also use this cup holder if I want. And it has another cup holder right here as well. The floorboard is tons of room in here inside the cab. My cooler fits right in there. I've never been able, when I took the loaders, been able to take an actual cooler with me in the machine for when I'm loading hay all day, because a lot of times I don't even get out of these things. I just keep running, and I have guys ferrying trucks back and forth, and then to me empty trucks, and then when we get done, they'll either be, one of them will be unloading, and then I'll go finish unloading and let them go home, or we'll load all the trucks and then I'll unload afterwards if I don't have somebody to unload some for me. So I'll just stay in here for a long time, and then you want something to drink and you can't get anything to drink because there's not enough room with the tunnels and the foot pedals. Now I could have got a standard machine and had foot controls, and then had 2 standard bars for directional control, just like the New Holland was, but I did not want that. I wanted a pilot control machine because it's a lot more comfortable running long hours in these things, loading hay and everything. It frees up a hand if I want to take a drink while I'm driving across the field or something. I do like the lap bars, instead of having to have a seat belt, and then you can also just rest your hand on the lap bar, which makes it a lot more comfortable when you're running a pilot control, because if you have to sit here and try to do this with nothing to put your arm on it, your arm's going to bounce a lot more, and it's not going to be near as comfortable to run. One thing that caught me off guard was I was trying to grab those to let this door down, and it took me a minute to realize there's also a release right there, so that way you can pull it down when it latches up and then close it. It does have a squirt bottle to clean the windshield as well with the wiper. But that is the Kubota. The only other thing, well, there was one other little thing I noticed too that I like the Cat machines have better than this one, is on these windows. This one here has a tiny little bit of rattle to it. The Cat machines actually come with a little flipper that bolts onto the glass, so over time, as your weather stripping and stuff starts to loosen up, you can flip that down and it will keep those windows from rattling. It's just another little comfort feature to make things quieter, but it is quiet. Let me fire it up right quick and let y'all hear it with it running at least. There's about 3/4 throttle. That's generally where I run it. I don't like to run them wide open all the time. This is how loud it is. You can still hear me. It's really quiet, honestly. I can really feel the air pushing too out here. The air sucks down now through here into all the condenser, the hydraulic cooler, the radiator, and then it pushes out through here. Now when the fan reverses, it reverses for a short period of time and blows any debris that sticks here off, so that way it doesn't get covered up hot. That's how loud it is. You still hear me get inside. At 3/4 throttle is how loud it is. It's not real god awful loud in here. I mean, it's pretty quiet compared to my old one. You could not even hear me talking on this camera. So this is the whine I'm talking about. The other ones, I never heard that really. You could hear it a little bit, but not a lot. But yeah, the New Holland, you could not even hear me talk right now in here. There's no way. There was no way I could do it. I tried and tried making videos in that loader. It was just too loud. No rattling. You get out of this one, it feels like you got out of a tractor at the end of the day. I don't have a giant headache anymore. Really pleased with that. But that is the machine. That is the Kubota SSV 65. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff I'm probably missing. I mean, I can show you all the fill ports, like your hydraulic fills here. I done showed you the fuel, your dipsticks and stuff for your oils right here. Your AC hookups, if you need to service them's right there. Here's the oil fill right there for the engine oil. Trying to think, the check for the hydraulic fluid is actually a sight glass, which is right there. You can see that. Then over here is your antifreeze bottles right there. You can easily see if it's full or needs any extra for the radiator. Everything's really, like I said, easy to access. It looks like this is a hose for the engine oil drain. You can drain your engine oil through that without having to get it everywhere in the machine. There's a bunch of plates underneath you can pull to clean out the bottom of this one. It's one thing I like about this one that the case does not have, is that I know that there's been videos made of build up and down in here. There's supposed to be a little door you can remove in the bottom. I'm probably going to pull those to keep anything from filling up. I don't plan on being in a lot of sticks and stuff to shove up in there and puncture anything, but I don't know, we'll see how, if it starts to build up debris, I'll have to pull those so it can fall right out. But other than that, I don't know, we're gonna have to, time will tell and see. Anyway, y'all stay tuned and find out how we like this thing and how things go and whatnot.